Yeah. And that just goes right into that fitting in, right? So some people are just followers. And then when we think of those who follow, who are more prone to be followers, we can backpedal and we kind of can delve in a little deeper. And there's probably some self-esteem issues, and there's probably some mental health, right? So a lot of times, the things that we see outward are symptoms of things that we don't see. So it's always good to kind of backpedal and kind of try to get to the meat and potatoes of things. All right, so who's most likely to become addicted? What do we think? We kind of went over some things on why people use, and so what do we think of why most people, or who's most likely to use and become addicted?
Some people are born with addictive personalities.
Right, so then we think about that family history. That's what it meant. Oh, Lord. That's what it mentions here. So family history, so that predisposition to have that addictive personality or to have that addictive trait. I mean, I know there's still some research to be done, but I am very curious to know the longevity of the research for babies that are born addicted to, like with the opiate crisis and the fentanyl, because they have to kind of put them on, morphine to wean them off. So then they're already kind of predisposed, right? Like they've already gone through addiction so early on. So just to see the research on that, to see where they are in 15, 20 years, to see if how they've kind of moved through that. Um, so we have troubled relationships here. So we have that could be with family, that can be with friends, it could be with your significant others. Oh boy, where he at? Where he at? We already know. We already know. Larry about to start up.
There you go.
I'm right with Larry, so. I'm on the Zoom call with my probation.
Start up, boy. I'm telling you.
There you go.
But I mean, it's very true. And I mean, we're joking about it, but for some people, it doesn't end so nicely, right? So one of my friends, she, her last relapse was her last relapse, and a lot of her reason for relapse was she was in a toxic relationship, and so the person she was with was using and was abusive towards her. And so she felt if she used with him, that would like strengthen their bond, and he wouldn't abuse her. So very distorted in thinking, but when you're not thinking clearly or you're just trying to make something work that isn't going to work, you tend to make provisions and excuses. So that was her rationale. And she relapsed and didn't make it. So relationships are huge when going through recovery, and when you're trying to work through and trying to stay sober, right? Because there's a lot that goes into relationships. It takes a toll on us emotionally. And if we're not ready to really truly work on how we feel and how we cope with that type of stress, we can end up back into addiction. So definitely notice when something is toxic, walk away. It's time to walk away. I'm not telling you, Larry, to go. I'm not saying that. Don't come in here and say bye. I'm not saying that. Yeah, because I think it might be you. You might be the problem. I don't know if she's the problem.
Now how we turn this around to me now. See how it
goes? I'm pro woman now. I'm pro female.
I know it. Oh,
we got to look out for one another. All right. All right. So when we go, back on this. All right. So then peer pressure, we've talked about relief from pain. We also talked about, and that pain can be physical as well as emotional. And then we talked about the mental health component as well. All right, signs of drug abuse, right? So this is not all inclusive. We all know things or signs that we could see in ourselves after the fact or in others. So these are just some of the more common physical signs you would see: red glazed eyes or larger, smaller pupils. Having repeated health problems. I would see this a lot in the hospital, especially with IV drug users. They would have a lot of heart problems, vein issues. They would have a lot of bacterial infections, changes in appetite and sleep. So weight loss up and down, an unusual smell of breath. It's odd, but yes, it's different. So then you have those behavioral components where you're starting to decline your performance at work, with family. You have unexplained anxiety. A lot of that is coming from the symptoms of wanting to use, lack of motivation. You start kind of being secretive because you're starting to notice that it's not favorable behavior. So then you want to hide that behavior so that no one can tell you to stop doing it. Or you start having more and more accidents, or getting into some trouble. Mental emotional changes. You have a personality change. Who usually notices that emotional, that personality change first? Family, those close to you, your loved ones, because they notice a shift in your mood. So a lot of times those personality changes, mood changes, your irresponsible behavior, poor judgment, and then those family dynamics start to break down. So you're more arguments, negative attitude, you become more secretive, and you start withdrawing from family. Anyone want to add to any of the signs? Okay. What was that?
I said you become an excuse, trying to make it for everything to go you.
Yeah.
No accountability.
Yeah, we want to keep using, right? So, we discussed before, as our relationship with that substance changes, our reason for use changes. So those excuses start to change because our goal in that moment is to continue use. So if we're using, and first it was recreational, we're just having fun, but now we're just in our house and we want to use. So now we're going to change that excuse, right? So now I'm using because I need to eat or I need to sleep, right? And then as we continue use, I gotta use because I don't want to feel sick, right? So the deeper we go down that rabbit hole with our substance use, our reasons for changing, reasons for use will change. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so ways to help, right? So these are some broad scale things. So teaching and awareness programs, things like DARE in school. One of the ones I want to kind of continue to hone in on is managing that stress and anxiety, just managing our stress, right? Managing crisis, and learning how to cope appropriately. Ultimately, like I say, life is always going to be life, and so we got to know how to address when life is lifing, right? We can't always run to a substance. We have to know how to work through it, how to take a step back, how to prioritize our mental health and ourselves and go that route. Also, with a lot of these widespread education and employment opportunities and different things like that, once you finish this course, or even while you're in this course, or once you finish probation and all of that, you are then sent, right? You are sent to continue to work on your own sobriety, but also to help others, right? You have lived experience that others would not have, right? So you come from a different lens, and you can be able to really help someone out of a situation, or just encourage someone, or be that support person for someone. So I always say we are sent, right? We are sent wherever we're supposed to be. So when you never know who you may come across that might need that support or need that encouragement, or you might remember something from one of the groups that you've been in, and you're like, well, you know what, this is something that brought up. This might work for you. So being able to be that support to someone else. When we think about how we help someone that might be struggling, where you might start to see that those changes in behavior where we can intervene early on. All right, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really the whole thing. I mean, the drug trafficking is going to be continue to be a thing. I don't foresee that ending anytime soon. And it will continue to affect people, but there can be big things that are done, like the prevention programs, things in schools, communities, and things like that. But if we can help our corner of the world and everyone helps their corner of the world, it will then reach other corners of the world. Because you don't know who you will touch, who will then touch someone else, and it kind of goes on from there. So we want to make sure that we're always trying to, give back in that sense. Any questions? All right, we are done a little early. I hope that that's not going to be an issue. But my child's having a mental breakdown herself because the baby walked 8 steps and she was at work. So she's in crisis. So we have to we have to support her.
Off and running. It is.
Keep coming back.
What's up, Nigeria?
Yes, we will. All right, so if you don't need to stay after, you are more than free to go. I think a few people I said to stay after.
Yeah, I need to ask you a question too, Miss Kim, when everybody's done.
Okay, no worries. All right, so I'll see everyone back here next week.
See you next week.
See you next week. All right, Za?
There.
Okay, perfect. So today's your last class. Praise, hallelujah. So I see that you made a payment for the 40 because that one was due, but today's class hasn't billed yet. So you would have to make that $25 payment before I can do your discharge summary.
Oh shit! I'm just gonna do it right now.
Okay. All right. So once I see, what was that?
I said I don't want to come back.
Okay. Yeah. Don't come back. Don't come back. Make sure we're making good decisions, and you won't come back, and you will just be free.
Y'all took all my damn money. I ain't even got no more money.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But guess what? Now, what you should do is every week that you would have been paying us, just put that money aside. Just put it aside. Now you have a built-in saving. And then at the end of it, treat yourself on a nice trip somewhere. Go on a cruise.
There you go. It's paid, Miss King. Discharge me.
I will. I'll discharge you right after I'm done.
Miss King.
All right. So you're all set.
Thank you. Bye,
You're welcome.
Miss King.
All right. Take care.
Miss King.
Yes.
Can you tell me how much I owe? I ain't never paid nothing. I really don't even know how it goes.
Oh boy. Give me 1 second. Out. I gotta get back in. All right. What's the last name?
Confidence.
Hopkins. All right. Give me a second. It's thinking. It's thinking. All right. Joshua.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you will owe 50. So this is your second class. So you owe 25 for last week and then 25 for today.
All right.
Okay, so make sure you pay that because if not, they'll discharge you.
When I gotta pay it by?
I would
Next
pay
group?
by next group.
And how I pay it?
You have the portal information?
Yeah, I think I got it. But if I don't, I got it on that. I got a screenshot of the little group rules.
All right, hold on. I'm finna see if I can pay right now.
Okay.
Let go, Trump, man. Blunt. God damn.